Welcome to our latest Hoopscast. Kevin Brockway and Pat Dooley, the Gainesville Sun, going to talk a little Gator basketball. And Kevin, this is the big stretch for Florida. 5 of the next 7 games are on the road.
Yep, and back-to-back at South Carolina and at Vanderbilt this week. And, you know, Florida comes in ranked following the win against Arkansas, but whether it's a good or a bad thing remains to be seen, because certainly last year when they were ranked, they dropped 2 in a row at Arkansas and at Tennessee. And we'll see how much this group has matured and can handle success.
Yeah, you know, Billy was talking Saturday about how these guys are still all saying the right things, and they in your story today, they said the right things. We're not going to let that happen again. We know what the fade was last year at the end of the year. The one good thing for Florida is they do have a schedule that's backloaded. While it may be backloaded in toughness, it's backloaded in home games as well. So, you know, that's why I think this right here, this chunk in the middle of the season is going to tell you whether they're going to be an NCAA tournament team or not.
Yeah, and I don't think you can overlook South Carolina either. Darren Horn is doing a lot of good things over there. They're playing a running, pressing style. They're very energized, and they gave Tennessee a very tough time on Saturday. They've got 2 of the better guards in the country, and Devin Downey and Zam Frederick, 2 of the better guards in the conference, and both scoring very well. So it's not going to be an easy task on Wednesday night.
No, well, I don't think there's any easy games for this team in the conference. Not that the conference is anything special, but again, Florida has some flaws. There's no question about it. I think they do understand, though, that if they go out and they don't put the effort forward, they're going to end up like they were last year and be looking at an NIT first-round game, you know, against San Diego State.
Yeah, and certainly we wouldn't want a repeat of that situation, or Creighton, or traveling to Arizona State in March while the NCAA tournament's going on. But you know, I think it'll be an interesting game in South Carolina, that you've got 2 teams that kind of are mirror images of each other. They both like to run. They both like to press. They're both, you know, maybe a little challenged in the front court. Mike Holmes is playing very well. Dominique Archie is coming off a couple of double-doubles for South Carolina. So they do have a little bit of a physical presence there, but certainly not the depth. But neither does Florida. So I think it sets up as a kind of game where, you know, maybe a very entertaining up-tempo game, and, you know, might be worth the 5.5-hour drive to Columbia to watch.
Or might not. Well, there's no question. Florida has found a way to win games up there. Sometimes not playing their best, but it just seems like every year they go up there and you're wondering if they're going to be able to pull it out, and in the end they get it done. Yeah,
and I think that, you know, I can remember back a couple of years ago to that, you know, Matt Walsh, Robeson group, where they were down by 14, and David Lee hit the big shot and came back. And, you know, last year Dan Werner hit some big shots down the stretch for them to pull off a win on the road. But you know, certainly it's always been a very tough place for Florida to play. Certainly presents a trap game, because at 3-0 in the conference, you know, there are a lot of people that are starting to talk about them a little bit more nationally, and this is the kind of game where they could easily overlook their opponent.
Well, you know, one thing is it's not going to be a ridiculously large crowd. We know that. South Carolina is still not quite there, and Darren Horn has. I watched their game against Tennessee. They played a totally different style. I was kind of caught by surprise by it, to be honest with you. But there's no doubt that for this Florida team, they've got to do all those little things. You know, they've got to rebound, and like you said, Mike Holmes is a nice player. Archie's okay, but they don't have a real inside presence. What they do have is Downey, who's a very quick guard who will break you down off the dribble, and Florida has not had a guy so far that's shown me they can stop anybody who can break you off the dribble.
Yeah, I mean, the perimeter defense is a question, and Downey, I remember talking last year to Walter Hodge. He thought the fastest guard in the SEC last year was Devin Downey, so he's going to present a good challenge. And, you know, Darren Horn is an interesting guy, not necessarily, you know, I talked to Heath Klein about this. He's in Columbia, not necessarily a ray of sunshine, a very kind of no-nonsense guy. But I think a guy, you know, obviously with a basketball background at Western Kentucky, Tate's Creek High in Lexington, has come in and put a system in place, and I think they'll be better for it, you know, maybe if not this year, in the future.
Well, you know, what I'd like to see from Florida, especially in this game, is find somebody besides Nick Calathis. I mean, he's become kind of a one-man show. We've already seen him score 32 and 28 in games in the last few weeks. I just don't know if there's another guy out there who's going to be the second scorer, the second guy you can kind of go to if they're really putting the pressure on Calathis.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting. I'm going to try to write about on Wednesday is the foul trouble that Walter Hodge and Dan Werner have incurred in these games in the Southeastern Conference leaves them really without an experienced guy on the floor. And those guys, I think that's been part of their struggles, is they haven't been able to get any kind of flow or rhythm in the game because they've been out of games so early. So you do need a second guy. You know, could Alex Tice be that guy? You know, Kenny Cage.
He's seems to be in that guy right now.
Kenny Cagey could be a guy off the bench. You know, that's been one of the benefits of Warner getting in foul trouble, is that we've seen more of Kenny Cagey, and he certainly, you know, raised his level of play the last couple of weeks. But you know, you need another leader to step up, maybe a junior or senior, someone that could take some of the pressure off, and Hodge and Warner could be two of those guys.
Or it'd be nice if Chandler Parsons made a shot. You know, I mean, it's unbelievable how poorly he's shooting from three-point range. They keep giving him the green light. He keeps getting open looks and keeps missing them. I'm just wondering if it's ever going to happen.
You know, Billy talked about in December, he tried to work with him on some modifications on a shot, and I think in the
turns it like, he kind of turns it weird. It looks ugly coming off his hand.
In the Winthrop game, he made like 3 or 4 in a row, and it looked like he was starting to turn the corner a little bit, and now he's kind of regressed back. So he's got to get back in the gym and look at the film and look at the, you know, study it and go over it with Billy again to try and get that form down, because he has the potential. You know, he can get on those flurries where he hits 2 or 3 or 4 in a row if he concentrates and focuses on what he's doing.
Yeah, I think he's lost some confidence as well, and that's bound to happen. But no place to get confidence is on the road. That's not a good place to pick up your confidence. And we'll see a lot more. We'll know a lot more about this team, especially after these next 2 games are played. These are teams that they certainly can beat. Vanderbilt doesn't seem to be as strong as they were last year, but they're tough tests on the road. So we'll find out a lot about the Gators and see if they can hold on to their 24th ranking. Is that what they are?
They're number 24 in the AP, but you know,
not ranked in the coaches, which is the 2nd straight week no SEC team ranked in the coaches poll.
I think we all have to agree, though, that you know, Kentucky certainly looks impressive, and you know, they had that early loss against VMI. But I think right now, if I was to say a team to beat in the conference, I would probably say with Patterson and Meeks that's probably the team to beat. But you know, you'd have to say that Florida is up there along with LSU and Tennessee. Certainly, I think we'll be heard from. You know, I think you're talking about those teams at the end are going to be battling for the SEC title. Yeah,
it'll be interesting, and of course, there's a long way to go. We'll be back with our next Hoopscast to preview the Vanderbilt game. Until then, Kevin Brockway, Pat Dooley saying so long from the Sunshine State.